Awusuafo ne ahwefo emu bi akobade ba Unidek TV so send the day kan obodi answer betumi emi subscribe button so no subscribe na for like na wetumi a share no wija comment was ne betumi.
You know, it's your boy Captain to the Planet. I'm here to talk to you about Unidek TV. Please subscribe to Unidek TV. Subscribe.
Ano edoso dodo ana yura na ase yura kan yura na ase fa enso yeti ha asem no so die ne koso abrochire endo ofa ne yeti ha na ye ka mu nsem no ofa yenni all the evidence and the resource of ewo nsem no ne yeti na ye ka mu nsem no de na ofa kan wo behia se wo bebo ye mu nkoma na ebeti mu nkomo yie na nkomanfo bi ate ase sanse amanfo bosi wa especially MPP party for no call from we against honorable Kennedy Agyapong no of a mugu so mobosi e wa ha nje ofa nje wo behia se mu nkomodi bo ho be ya no manfo ehwe na afo manfo so etie no of mu ntimu nsemu yie sanse Ghana de I and you were not there and so asemba of ye na chirimu yie e ma manfo no ete ase wa bonten ofa
Yewra ohene Agyapong ane anas arum yawo ansam no na watwe mu no ana me hu dwiri me kase se nsantwrafo akuku dama wo Ghana nyina abosi obia hu se wenya omunkwa mu ayede efise ne omo atene se anas edi nkonim ene ne omo teye nti omo congratulate anas omo bona baso oye warrior oye se nsantwrafo nya omo fa hodi a whole lot na me friend me nua kuma bia wono so wakodare mu pa nam bro sanka me wa he anya anka so be fra me na obi sam bibi kakra so minim se wo ho ande yankwe amsa audios bi na de epie me boa na sa audio na epie no hwe video na anas mo de ba bonten se judge no will read the verdict of the jury now. And Abrana, so what should be?
My baby pa.
Mo.
My baby, you need offer.
sa video na judge ni ready jury for verdict no ne atua so pepepe sa audio na ababonten no but anu no anasemo ammo sawati ase
amati ase pa
sa audio no na atua just immediately a continuation nti sanka omubo full video na enka sa message no nso ebeba ama omanfo ate na yentie abra judge no order charge jury for na omo epie no na lawyers no ne judge no da so dia no baba ye. And when the judge ruled already rulings no from jury for no one conclude case no na me pese yentie sa audio no kakra womo amote America brofo no bete enti yentie kakra bi.
This is what the jury said. In our initial finding, we awarded $18 million with a breakdown of presumed damages $5 million, actual damages $5 million, and punitive damages $8 million.
We're done.
No, Judge. I'm requesting a mistrial. The court to consider punitive damages in the initial, and you can't mold the verdict. I'm once again requesting a remitter based upon that, and a new trial should be granted based upon that response, Judge. They were not considered. They were outside of your. I'm just making a record, Judge, now, if I could. Those are outside your instructions. They were required to follow your instructions. They didn't follow your instructions. You're not permitted to mold that verdict because that's not form. A judge can only mold form. For instance, and you can mold the lien if the parties agree that you could.
Abrana, judge, no already verdict in the year. Watch us, you are discharged. Odikambo presuming damage is $5 million. Actual damage $5 million and punitive damage $8 million. And our nurse lawyer the here say we are done. And honorable Ken lawyer no na ekasa no judge. I say no judge. You can't. Muntiebio, maybe obiante. Listen carefully. I'll pause in between time.
This is what the jury said.
This is the verdict the jury said.
In our initial findings, we awarded $18 million with a breakdown.
In our initial findings, juries awarded $18 million with breakdown
of presumed damages $5 million.
Presumed damage $5 million.
Actual damages $5 million.
Actual damages $5 million.
And punitive damages $8 million.
And punitive damages $8 million, making $18 million.
We're done.
No, Judge.
And as lawyer tell us we're done. Wama judge nimpanu ensio. Ano no kase we done. Wama judge no nanu ayada nanu ensi kura. No si we done. No si no judge. Savi de hono anas mo show. Na de course no anti case no anya complete. Nti omanfo hu hono a one more day I no. This is the problem. Na Tiano Baba anyway.
I'm requesting a mistrial. They current to consider punitive damages.
He is requesting for mistrial because the client considered punitive damages
in the initial, and you can't mold the verdict.
Initial, we never no. Yasemunko enko punitive damage numra. Sankrofun initial one previously no, omo 18 million no, omo di ashemu dada. Inti breakdown ebenos afeni ye baba hwehwe punitive damage no. Na bansa na mo makopre mo ho. Se mo di ashemu dada. One na ma order me ma instructions se muntie na mundi so. Ade na mo makoye saade we di abrame. That is what Honorable Ken Lawyer was challenging.
I'm once again requesting a remitter based upon that, and a new trial should be granted based upon that response, Judge. They were not considered. They were outside of your. I'm just making a record, Judge, now if I could. Those are outside your instructions. They were required to follow your instructions.
You see? Also, you are not allowed to move this or to enter because they worked outside your instructions. They worked outside, and the lawyer was emphatic on what he was saying.
Didn't follow your instructions.
They didn't follow your instructions.
Not permitted to mold that verdict.
You are not permitted to move that verdict.
Because that's not form. A judge can only mold form. For instance,
a judge can only mold form, but you are not permitted to. And the judge, we say, okay, so what is your request? But before that, no, Anas lawyer interrupt the answer.
Since there's a lien, and you can mold the lien if the parties agree that you could pre-tax versus post-tax income. The judge is permitted to mold the verdict based upon the specific evidence that was presented. You are not allowed to mold that verdict. That's a remitter. There should be a new trial granted, and unfortunately, they did their job, and we should send them home.
Judge, and then Anas lawyer Nebemu Abeka Nedia Nurse Judge. We crowd in Kaya curable. A woman say, my mistake, dear Nanso, or Gideon Sanka, where dear, wow, do discretion, I am Bibia, Muntie. Asama, ye Gina jury for, aso, a judge, Nasa mistake ba, was a judge in the civil court, no, you can't. Mistake is a mistake. That calls for a retrial. But when they
basically, my thought is on their form, which is what was submitted to the court. It did state that it was presumed damages. On that basis, I believe that the instruction that Your Honor should send back was that the punitive damages and the actual damages were not included in.
So even in this case, lawyer Nanka Sakurano initially one tiase. This is how it is. Because I presume that not just say no nim say initial instructions or the mar or momono ebi asa na second, but I feel no ebe who say error number
in that judgment.
I'd like to see the law, Judge. I think Your Honor is more than equipped than either of us to understand that when the jury sends that back and they haven't followed your instructions, and you can't send them back to re-deliberate.
You can't send them back to re-deliberate on the issue. The lawyer is so tough. Huh? I understand. And you feel that one son on back to re-deliberate. And into not discharge a woman.
Had they had that question during deliberations, you could have given an instruction, a curative instruction, and brought them in and said, punitive damages if you're not to decide, just decide. First of all, they're there should have been actual damages because there was only presumptive damages presented. There were no actual damages. And Judge, it's just simply a mistrial. It
was audio BN Hobium. This was the last day we met. And in the absence of this audio, we nya audio bia a free judge ho, a free lawyers meaning ho. This is the last audio we did. Inti so biba can be now in the absence of this ayatro. Inti the judge has never ruled on the case. The judge read the verdict of the jury and discharged them. But this was the problem. And I'm small man, 30-day motion. And the verdict, the mistrial, you can't just use by word. And that's all Judge Nakaso, okay, sit down. I'm going to let the jury go back and re-ascertain the punitive damage. No, because not time in action. So the only thing about the charge, no one ejina lawyer for me and intem. You have granted that, okay, go and bring your motion. So the motion that the judge, the lawyer is going to bring, and no never state the actual mistakes, which the judge even have admitted those mistakes. And in this, judge no caliber no. So jina sa mistakes you overrule case in favor of an ass or no cry the profession is at stake. Inti mobia and jina baby and to two and nam no ho and kekana na se wini. Yes, verdict about from the jury for no. As you say, ye na ye vote yama anas. Fair enough. What was the final pronouncement of the judge? It never came. And then a Ghana and Central for anas and Suyan Central sign a lawyer. He knows. Now with Timiaba, Abaya Edian press releases. I am Yoma Bebre, Ama Yajiatum, Amam Penim Fopa. The only person I am in one waka KSM when he was congratulating Anas for the victory. I'm so wow. Ghana. Anas Winikesa and Yamawa Nelson, must that call for a topmost journalist for Momos, not just Omina, no, why no phone of Obiasro say, Obeba Altabe Cabri be a support to announce because they look at Honorable Kennedy at that time, and so Obiaso on to say Bribiasi Bribisia and now who are dofu Abranana. One sir. Anka wone the first person a mama stories be a course or court. But from Bisamno, I told you sir.
Abusuafo ne ahwefo emu bi akobade ba Unidek TV so send the day adi kan where the answer betumi emi subscribe button no so no subscribe na for like na wetumi a share no we comment to us ne betumi.
You know, it's your boy Captain to the Planet. I'm here to talk to you about Unidek TV. Please subscribe to Unidek TV. Subscribe. If